Hey there. Welcome to quiz time. I'm your quiz master, Sean, soaking in the rays in Venice, Florida. I've got 100 general knowledge questions for you to test your brain, to give your mental facilities a workout, and otherwise just have fun. So let's begin with question number one. What does resistance measure in physics? Current, force, or opposition to flow of electric current? And the answer is opposition to flow of electric current. The city of Petra is located in which country? Egypt, Lebanon, or is it located in Jordan? Petra is located in Jordan. What technology is used to store and manage digital transactions in a decentralized ledger? Is that cloud computing? Is it called blockchain? Or is it called quantum computing? And that is called blockchain. Who directed one of the greatest films in cinema history, Citizen Kane? Was it Orson Welles? Was it Steven Spielberg? Or was it Alfred Hitchcock? Citizen Kane was directed by Orson Welles. The traditional dance form samba is associated with which country? Colombia, Brazil, or is it Argentina? Samba is associated with Brazil. What country owned the Ever Given container ship that caused a major disruption to global trade in 2021? Was it China? Was it Taiwan? Or was it Egypt? The Ever Given container ship was flagged in Egypt. What is the term for a score of 0 in tennis? Is it love? Is it deuce? Or do they call that advantage? In tennis, a score of 0 is called love. What describes a situation where there are not enough resources to meet wants and needs? Do we call it a situation of abundance? We call it a monopoly, or we call that scarcity? We call that scarcity. What is the political system wherein citizens can participate in decision-making through voting? Is that, do we call that authoritarianism? Is that democracy? Or is that monarchy? And that is a form of democracy. What's a contributor to air pollution in urban areas? Particulate matter, carbon dioxide, or is it sulfur dioxide? And that would be particulate matter. What traditional dish is often the centerpiece of a Thanksgiving meal? In America, when we sit down to Thanksgiving, what do we typically have? Well, of course, that would be a Thanksgiving turkey. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 marked the end of what major conflict? Did it end the Cold War? Did it end the Napoleonic Wars? Or did it mark the end of World War I? The Treaty of Versailles in 1919, World War I. The Monroe Doctrine in 1823 aimed to prevent European colonization in what region? Latin America, Africa, or did it end colonization in Asia? It prevented colonization in Latin America. What strait separates Denmark from Sweden? Is it the Bosporus Strait, the Orenden Strait, or the English Channel? The Orson Strait, excuse me. What strait separates Denmark and Sweden? The Orson Strait. What river in ancient Egyptian civilization flows northward into the Mediterranean Sea? Is that the Jordan River, Is it the Tigris River or is it the Nile River? And that would be the Nile River. What is a small piece of code that has a specific function and can be integrated into a larger software application? Is that a chip? Is it a module? Or is it a pixel? It is a module. Who directed the film Slumdog Millionaire, which won multiple Academy Awards in 2009? Was that Amir Khan, Anurag Kashyap, or was it Danny Boyle? And that was directed by Danny Boyle. What space tourism company successfully sent its founder, Jeff Bezos, into space in 2021? Was that Blue Origin? Was it SpaceX? Or was it Boeing? And that would be Blue Origin. What term is a score of one stroke under par in a hole of golf? Do we call that par? Do we call it shooting eagle? Or is that when we make bogey? One under par on a hole is making birdie. Where did the first modern Olympic Games take place in 1896? Was it London? Was it Athens? Or was it Paris? The first modern Olympic Games. Of course, they took place in Athens. What is the defense mechanism where unacceptable thoughts or impulses are pushed back in the unconscious mind? We call that denial. Projection. Or is that when we repress memories? That is repression. Who leads the executive branch in the United States? Is it led by the president? Is it led by the Supreme Court? Or is it led by the Senate Majority Leader? And it is led by the president. What does the acronym NATO stand for in political science? North American Treaty Organization, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or National Assembly for Treaty Obligations? NATO. And that would be the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. At high concentrations, what gas causes respiratory problems and contributes to city air pollution? Is that sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, or is that methane that causes problems? That is carbon monoxide. What is a supernova? Is it a black hole? Is it a dying star? Or is it an asteroid? A supernova is a dying star. What is the capital city of the Philippines? Capital city of the Philippines. That would be Manila. In which state is the Great Victoria Desert, the largest desert in Australia, located? Is it found in South Australia? Is it found in Queensland? Or is it found in Western Australia? And the Great Victoria Desert is in South Australia. What is the name of the fictional wizarding school in Harry Potter? Is it Durmstrang? Is it Hogwarts? Or is it Ivermony? The name of the fictional wizarding school in Harry Potter. That would be Hogwarts. True or false? Facebook faced controversy and legal challenges, leading to a temporary ban in several countries, including India and the United States. Is that true or is it false? That would be false. TikTok got in that kind of trouble. In NBA, what is the standard height of a basketball hoop? Is it 9 feet? Is it 11 feet? Or is the hoop 10 feet from the floor? A basketball hoop is 10 feet from the floor. What is the process of gradual sea level rise due to the melting of glaciers and polar ice caps called? Is that ocean acidification, salinization, or is that thermal expansion? And that would be thermal expansion. What is a system of government in which power is in the hands of a king or queen? Is that a democracy? Is it a monarchy? Or is that system called an oligarchy? And that would be a monarchy. What protocol focuses on the protection of the ozone layer? Is that the Paris Agreement? Is it the Kyoto Protocol? Or is it the Montreal Protocol? The protocol that focuses on restoring the ozone layer is the Montreal Protocol. What causes the seasons on Earth? The tilt of the Earth's axis, the distance from the sun, or is it caused by solar flares? The seasons on Earth is a result of the tilt of the Earth's axis. What historic feat was achieved in the Apollo 2 mission in 1969? Was that the first spacewalk, the first human on the moon, or the first satellite in orbit? Apollo 2 mission in 1969, the first human on the moon. What technology allows users to experience a computer-simulated environment with special headsets and sensors? Is that augmented reality? Is that virtual reality? Or we call that artificial reality? And that would be virtual reality. Who painted the famous artwork Guernica, which depicted the horrors of the Spanish Civil War? Was that by Claude Monet, Vincent van Gogh Pablo, or was that a work by Picasso? And that would be a work by Picasso. What global event was postponed for the first time in its history due to the COVID-19 pandemic? Was it the Summer Olympics? Was the FIFA World Cup postponed? Or did they have to put off Wimbledon? And they postponed the Summer Olympics. What country faced a military coup leading to the detainment of political leaders in 2021? Would that be Myanmar or Burma, Vietnam, or did that occur in Laos? And that occurred in Myanmar or Burma. Who became the youngest heavyweight champion in history? Was Mike Tyson the youngest? Was it Floyd Mayweather Jr.? Or was the youngest heavyweight ever Evander Holyfield? Of course, that was Iron Mike Tyson. What is a group of individuals who share a common cultural background and heritage? Is that a counterculture? Is that an ethnic group? Or is that a social class? And that would be an ethnic group. Who is known for developing the theory of just war? Thomas Aquinas, Karl Marx, or is that a theory by John Locke? Just war theory, that's a product of Thomas Aquinas. What is the process of converting agricultural land into desert-like conditions? Is that desertification? Is that eutrophication? Or is that acidification? And that is desertification. What energy resource is derived from the sun? Do we get nuclear energy from the sun? Do we get solar energy from the sun? Or do we get wind energy from the sun? And we get solar energy from the sun. Who led the Bolsheviks during the October Revolution in Russia? Was that Joseph Stalin? Was that Leon Trotsky? Or was that Vladimir Lenin who led the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia? That was Vladimir Lenin. What technology is used for contactless payments, allowing users to make transactions with a simple tap? Are those QR codes? Is that RFID? Or is that NFC? And that would be NFC. Who wrote the play Death of a Salesman? Was that written by Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, or was that written by Eugene O'Neill? Death of a Salesman. That was written by Arthur Miller. What is the phenomenon where individuals are more likely to perform better on tasks when they're being observed? Is that the placebo effect? Is that the Hawthorne effect? Or is that the Pygmalion effect? And that would be called the Hawthorne effect. What cryptocurrency surpassed $60,000 per coin in 2021? Was that Ripple or XRP? Was that Litecoin or was that Bitcoin? First, surpassing 60,000. That would be Bitcoin. Question number 50. Who is the all-time leading goal scorer in FIFA World Cup history? Is it Lionel Messi? Is it Cristiano Ronaldo? Or is the leading goal scorer Pele? The leading goal scorer in FIFA World Cup history is Cristiano Ronaldo. In what Olympic sport would you perform a slalom? Would you slalom in skiing? Would you slalom in rowing? Or would you slalom in archery? You slalom in skiing. What theory suggests that behavior is influenced by the observation and imitation of others? Is that behaviorism? Is it psychoanalytic theory? Or is that social learning theory? And that would be social learning theory. Who wrote The Prince, which explores the use of political power in leadership? Niccolo Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, or Jean-Jacques Rousseau? The Prince was written by Niccolo Machiavelli. What is the excessive accumulation of nitrogen and phosphorus in water bodies? Is that called the greenhouse effect? Is that called eutrophication? Or is that called deforestation? And we call that eutrophication. What is a light year? Is it a unit of time, a unit of brightness, or is it a unit of distance? A light year is a unit of distance. Where is the land of 1,000 lakes located? Would you find that in Sweden? Would you find it in Norway? Or would you find it in Finland? The land of 1,000 lakes is in Finland. The Great Dividing Range runs along the eastern coast of which country? Australia, New Zealand, or would you find the Great Dividing Range in South Africa? And you would find that in Australia. What video conferencing platform became popular for remote work and communication? Microsoft Teams, Skype, or Zoom? And that platform is Zoom. What art movement was Frida Kahlo associated with? Abstract Expressionism, Surrealism, or Cubism? Frida Kahlo is associated with Surrealism. Who painted the iconic paintings of Campbell soup cans and Marilyn Monroe? Is that Jackson Pollock? Is that artist Andy Warhol? Or is it Roy Lichtenstein? That would be Andy Warhol. What is the traditional music and dance of the Celtic people? The polka? Did they dance the jig? Or did Celtic people dance the tango traditionally? And that would be the jig. Who won the 2021 men's Wimbledon singles title? Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, or was that Roger Federer? 2021 men's Wimbledon single men's title, Novak Djokovic. What is the term when a bowler takes 3 wickets with 3 consecutive deliveries in cricket? They call that a six-pack, they call that a triple play, or is that a hat trick? In cricket, that's a hat trick. What is the primary cause of the hole in the ozone layer? Carbon dioxide emissions, CFC emissions, or is that a result of deforestation? The hole in the ozone layer is caused by CFC emissions. What is the Kuiper Belt? Is it a type of asteroid? Is it a galaxy cluster? Or is it a region of comets beyond Neptune? The Kuiper Belt is a region of comets beyond Neptune. True or false? The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand started World War I. And that would be true. The Strait of Malacca is situated between which 2 countries? Malaysia and Indonesia, Thailand and Myanmar, or Vietnam and Cambodia? Strait of Malacca is between Malaysia and Indonesia. What is the practice of using multiple servers to share the workload and improve efficiency? Is that cluster computing? Is that distributed computing? Or is that quantum computing? And that is distributed computing. Who wrote the famous opera, The Marriage of Figaro? Giuseppe Verdi, Richard Wagner, or Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart? And that was written by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. What classic ballet originated in Russia and was first premiered in 1892? Was that Swan Lake? Was that Sleeping Beauty? Or was that the Nutcracker? That would be the Nutcracker. Where did Sandro Botticelli create the famous painting, The Birth of Venus? Did he create it in Italy, France, or did he do it in Spain? The Birth of Venus was created in Italy. Who hosted the 2021 G7 summit? Was it hosted by Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, or was it hosted by Angela Merkel? The 2021 G7 summit was hosted by Boris Johnson. What is the phenomenon where individuals are less likely to help in an emergency situation when others are present? Is that called social loafing? Is it called groupthink? Or is that diffusion of responsibility? And that's called diffusion of responsibility. What stage occurs during early childhood characterized by the development of language and symbolic thinking? Is that the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, or is that the concrete operational stage? And that is the pre-operational stage. What political philosophy emphasizes the preservation of traditional institutions and opposes rapid change in society? Is that liberalism? Is it conservatism? Or is that socialism? And that is conservatism. What ideology advocates for the establishment of a classless society through the overthrow of the capitalist system? Is that liberalism? Is that conservatism? Or is that socialism? Overthrow the capitalist system. Socialism. What suggests that behavior is influenced by unconscious drives and conflicts? Is that humanistic psychology, psychoanalytic theory, or is that cognitive psychology? And that would be psychoanalytic theory. What is the goal of liberalism? Social equality, limited government intervention, or is it class struggle? Liberalism. The goal of liberalism is limited government intervention. Who wrote the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray? Was it written by Oscar Wilde? Was it written by Samuel Beckett? Or was it written by James Joyce? And that was Oscar Wilde. What country is the first to land a rover on Mars in its Tianwen-1 mission? United States, Russia, or China? The Tianwen-1 mission, that is China. True or false? Giorgio Parisi won the 2021 Nobel Prize in Physics. Is that true or is that false? Giorgio Parisi, 2021 Nobel Prize Physics. That is true. He won for the work on understanding complex physical systems using statistical methods. Who is the Formula One driver who holds the record for the most world championships? Is it Michael Schumacher? Is it Ayrton Senna? Or is that Lewis Hamilton? And the answer is Lewis Hamilton. Who won gold in both the 100 meters and 200 meters in 3 consecutive Olympic Games? Was it Usain Bolt? Was it Carl Lewis? Or was it Jesse Owens? And that was an accomplishment by Usain Bolt. What is the total value of all goods and services produced by a country in a specific period? Is that the Consumer Price Index, CPI, Gross Domestic Product, GDP, or is that the inflation rate? And that would be Gross Domestic Product, otherwise known as GDP. What suggests countries have the right to govern themselves without external interference? Sovereignty, imperialism, or globalization? The right to govern themselves without external interference, that's the principle of sovereignty. The film Gone with the Wind is based on a novel written by, was it Margaret Mitchell? Was it F. Scott Fitzgerald? Or was Gone with the Wind written by Ernest Hemingway? Gone with the Wind was written by Margaret Mitchell. Who created large-scale environmental artworks, such as the gates in Central Park? Was it Jean-Michel Basquiat? Was it Christo? Or was it Yayoi Kusama? And that was the work of Christo. Who was the father of the Constitution in the United States? Was that Thomas Jefferson? Was it Ben Franklin? Or was it James Madison? The father of the Constitution in the United States is James Madison. The city of Sydney is located in what state? Is it located in New South Wales? Is it located in Victoria? Or is it located in Western Australia? The city of Sydney is located in New South Wales. What does VPN stand for? Virtual phone network, virtual private network, or virtual process network? VPN. If you have a VPN, you have a virtual private network. Cybersecurity is the protection of computer systems from what? Unauthorized access, attacks, and data breaches, software updates, or Perhaps battery failure? Cybersecurity is unauthorized access, attacks, and data breaches. What technology is associated with the development of self-driving cars? Is it augmented reality? Is it artificial intelligence? Or is it quantum computing? Self-driving cars are associated with artificial intelligence. Who wrote the novel Beloved, a powerful exploration of slavery and its aftermath? James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, or is that a work by Langston Hughes? That's a work by Toni Morrison. What is the traditional dance of the Hawaiian Islands? Traditionally, do they dance the samba? Do they dance the tango? Or in the Hawaiian Islands, is their traditional dance the hula? It is the hula dance. Who composed the famous opera Carmen? Giuseppe Verdi, Georges Bizet, or was that Richard Wagner? The famous opera Carmen. That was composed by Georges Bizet. The traditional Japanese theater, No, is characterized by elaborate costumes and masks, fast-paced comedic performances, or acrobatic dance movements. No is characterized by elaborate costumes and masks. Who wrote Fahrenheit 451, depicting a future society where books are banned? Was that by George Orwell, Ray Bradbury, or was that written by Aldous Huxley? Fahrenheit 451 is a work by Ray Bradbury. What mountain range separates Europe from Asia? The Ural Mountains, the Himalayas, or the Rocky Mountains? The range that separates Europe from Asia, that would be the Ural Mountains. What does the acronym VR stand for in technology? VR in technology. Well, that stands for virtual reality. And question 100. Who wrote A Song of Ice and Fire, which inspired the television series Game of Thrones? George R.R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, or Suzanne Collins? And that was written by George R.R. Martin. Thanks for playing Quiz Time. Drop your score in the comments, please. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for more quizzes like this. Thanks for playing. We'll see you in the next one.